Okay, in this video, we're going to set up Heroku and push our code up there. Before we do that, though, we need to make a quick change to the gem file. So Rails comes with this SQLite 3 database. It's a very lightweight database that is just basically for development purposes. In our little thing that we just created, we're not even using a database, so it's not that important to us. But Heroku does not play with SQLite 3. They do not play nicely together. They will not let you use that database. They like the database called Postgres. And the thing about Rails is it doesn't matter which database you use. All of that stuff gets taken care of behind the scenes. So we don't care SQLite 3, MySQL, Postgres. We don't care the database. So we're happy to change it to make Heroku happy. So to do that, we need to do a few things. First, we see these different groups here. These are gems that only get run on our development environment. And this is our development environment. All of this code, all of this stuff on our Windows computer, that's the development environment. Heroku is a production environment. That's production level. That's professional, right? So we need to take SQLite 3 and be like, hey, it's fine to use it in development. We just don't want to use it in production. So to do that, we just come down here. You see there's two of these. It doesn't matter which one. We just type in gem and then SQLite 3. Oops, we need quotation marks. So I basically just copied this, but I just typed it. So now we need to get rid of that from here, right? Okay, so that's step one. Step two is we need to create a group for production. So we just type in group and then the colon and then production. And then do, and then end. And there we go. And inside of here, we need to designate which database we want to use for Heroku. Now, I know we're not using a database for our project. Doesn't matter. Heroku still wants to see this. It's just their protocol. So we're just going to paste this in. There are two gems we need. This is the Postgres gem, and this is the Rails 12 factor. This just does some things behind the scenes that Heroku likes. And make sure to end our quotation marks there. Okay, so now we can save this. One more thing we have to do, we have to install these things, but the command normally is just bundle install, right? But this is a little bit different this time. So we need to type bundle install -- without production. So we're saying install everything, but don't install these things because we only want to install these in production. We don't want these installed on our development environment. So there we go. Hit enter and fetching the gems should be no problem. And we're good to go. So we've now changed all of our code a little bit. So we need to save it to Git and push it to GitHub before we do anything with Heroku. So git add period, up git commit -am. Let's go added PG for Heroku. It's a good message. Okay, and then git push to push this stuff up to GitHub. It's asking for a password again. And boom, we're done. So now we need to sort of set up Heroku. And I'm just going to type in Heroku -- version one more time to make sure we have Heroku. We do. It's installed and ready to go. So now we need to log into our account at Heroku. So just type in Heroku login. And it's going to ask you for your email, and it already has guessed. I'm going to type it in anyway. And it's going to ask you for your password. Now I'm going to take this off screen because it used to, you can see it used to give little asterisks when you type, but it doesn't anymore for some reason. So I'm just going to pull this off the screen so you can't see my password. And it says logged in as johne4196@gmail.com. And now it's kind of hanging a little bit. So I'm just going to hit Control-C to get out of that. Okay, so I can clear the screen and bring this back. So now, just like with GitHub, we need to add our keys, our SSH keys. So remember when we set up GitHub, we had to copy and paste. We did that catalog command. We don't have to do that with Heroku. They're a little bit more together. All we have to do is type in Heroku keys :add. And it's going to go, we found your key at this. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Now it's uploading. And done. So usually when it finishes something, it bops us back to this thing right here so that we can add our next command. But sometimes when dealing with Heroku, I've noticed it just sort of hangs like this. So I'm just going to hit Control C. It says, would you like to terminate? Yes, I would. And that's fine too. So now we're almost done. Now we need to create a new app on Heroku. So we type in Heroku, and if you'll notice, every time we do something with Heroku, we start out by typing Heroku. It's just sort of how that goes. So Heroku create. It's creating an app for us, and here's the app it has created. It's given us this little URL, and we can, oops, try that again. Copy this, right click and copy. And we can change the name of that by typing Heroku rename, I think, and then typing in whatever you want. I'll let you do that if you want. I'm just going to keep it the way it is. So now we can open up a web browser and we can actually go to this URL and we see this little default screen and we're ready to go. So now the only thing to do now is to push our code up to Heroku, and we'll do that in the next video.